Hello and welcome to another edition of James and Chris Science Videos, where today we are going to be looking at how to perform the chemical tests that we need to do in order to find out what a product is at the end of a reaction. So most of the time we've been doing reactions. In the last couple of videos we were looking at hydrochloric acid with calcium carbonate, for example, where we produced a gas. Now what we need to do now is be able to find out what gas that is and identify the different gases and sometimes liquids in different reactions. So to do that, this video is going to go through the 4 that you need to know for the common entrance. That is the test for carbon dioxide, the test for hydrogen, the test for oxygen, and the test for water. We're going to go through each of the techniques, how you perform the test, and we're going to look at the positive and negative results, as well as the name of each test. And you need to know all 3 of those in order to pass the exam, or to get the questions right. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the lab and we're going to set up each of the experiments and I'm going to talk you through them. So I'm going off to the lab now. I'll see you in a minute. Bye-bye. Okay, let's start with the test for carbon dioxide. Here on the bench, I've got a couple of things set up. I've got a heat-proof mat, a stand boss and clamp, and I've got a boiling tube. And in that boiling tube, I've already put some carbon dioxide, and I've got a bung on top just to make sure the carbon dioxide doesn't disappear. Here I've got some lime water. Calcium hydroxide is the chemical name, but lime water is how you probably know it, and it's how they talk about it in the exam. So in order to do this test, all you do is we're going to take the bung off here, and we're going to take the lime water here, and we're just going to squeeze a little bit of this in. Now I'm going to put the bung back on, and you can see at the bottom it's gone a cloudy colour. We call it a white precipitate. But in the exam, they're looking for the word cloudy or milky. So you can see that where it's turned that milky or cloudy colour. It's actually little white particles of calcium carbonate that come out of solution and form what's called a precipitate at the bottom. So that is a positive result for the lime water test. It goes cloudy. Okay, this test here is the test for hydrogen. It's called the squeaky pop test. So again, I've set up a stand boss and clamp and a heat-proof mat. And on here I've got a boiling tube and I've pre-filled it with hydrogen with a bung in that position there. You can see I've got the boiling tube at an angle. Quite important. Why do I do that? Well, hydrogen is lighter than air. So by taking the cork off, it's not just going to suddenly float out. It's going to stay into that boiling tube and we'll keep the hydrogen there a little bit longer, which will be quite useful. So what I now need is a flame. So here's a flame, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bung off the bottom here, like so. So off comes the bung. And I'm going to put the flame into, and we get a very squeaky pop. That was almost a Mr. Kippax-esque scream. Okay, our next test is the test for oxygen, and again, I've got a very similar kind of setup here. This time I've put the oxygen at this kind of angle here. I've pre-filled it with oxygen and I've got a bung at the top. Now, the test for this, I need a flame again. Let me just go get a flame and then we'll show you what happens. Okay, the test this time, instead of using a flame, what we're going to do is we're going to blow it out and you can see it's still glowing. So what I now do is I put that glowing splint into the test tube and you can see it reignites. And so the test for oxygen is that it relights, and I'll probably run out, a glowing splint. Okay, my final test is the test for water. And there's actually 2 tests for water. I'm only going to show you one today. I'll show you the other via some pictures at the bottom. But this is the test for water. This bit here is paper, and on it is laced with a chemical called cobalt chloride. Now, cobalt chloride is usually a lovely blue colour. But when you add water to it, it changes its colour. So I'm just going to take a little drop here, and I'm going to put a few drops on there, and you can see it turns pink. So my test for water is that it turns cobalt chloride from blue to pink. The second test that is going to appear in pictures is I can also use anhydrous copper sulfate, which is this white powder that appears here. And if I add water to it, that will turn blue, which is this blue powder that's just appeared on the screen now. Either of those are the test for water. Okay, so we're back. Those are the 4 tests you need to know, and in front of you is a summary of the different parts of each test that you do need to know. So learn them. Make sure you understand each of those principles. The final word of the day is the word meaning. Thank you very much. Bye bye.